I'm Clay,
I'm Hal,
and we're going to have a beer tonight.
and a conversation.
All right, Hal, we're here.
All right,
Smoke
Clay.
Republic again, going to have a conversation,
Yes.
right? Okay, so tonight we have a brew from 903 Brewers in Sherman, Texas. A barrel-aged dragon is what they call it. Imperial stout with ancho and smoked serrano chili peppers aged in whiskey barrels from Iron Root
Yay!
Distillery just up the road in Denison, Texas.
Yeah. Oh, that's thick. Look at that.
All right. Oh, and I brought my We the People glass. Just for you, Hal. Okay.
Cheers.
Cheers.
That's nice.
Okay. I get the ancho chili and the smell. Obviously, it smells like a
So we're
stout.
gonna spend 20 minutes on this, huh?
No. That's half of it is the smell.
Mm-hmm. Oh my God. That's not bad at all. That's a one glass beer.
Ooh, that's strong. Hal, last time we talked, you asked me something along the lines of, Clay, what are your thoughts on white privilege? You know, and you kind of
Yeah.
described to me what that meant, what white privilege meant to you. And I think, just in a nutshell, my response was, you know, I don't see it so much as a color privilege, but I see that there are certain socioeconomic statuses that have privileges over others. And we do happen to have more people that are black that are in lower socioeconomic brackets, if you will.
Yes.
Right? And so that was a good conversation for me. I enjoyed that. I enjoyed hearing what you had to say about that. But I did most of the talking that time because that was a question to me. But now I want to flip it around and ask you, what are your thoughts about white privilege? What do you think about it? Do you think it exists? And give me some examples. Tell me why, when, where. What do you think?
Yes, I believe it exists. Yes, 100%.
Okay.
It may not be like somebody in a back room, you know, that has conjured this up, but the idea of it exists and it plays out every day. So we as a community, Black people community, we have to do things to make ourselves seem above reproach. Even though, I mean, there's a
At least
segment.
you feel you do.
Makes you feel, you know, you have to be better and faster and this and that. Like, if a little kid, if two little boys are playing with two toys, and if the little white kid takes the toy, he just forgot to put it back in the toy box. But if the black kid took it, he stole it. And that's the thing we try to overcome all the time. You know, just have the benefit of the doubt. Like, hey, maybe he didn't steal it. But instead of that is the first knee-jerk reaction is, oh, he stole something. So we have to be we have to be above reproach just to come even.
Okay.
The privilege of the benefit of the doubt. That uneasiness that everything you do is going to be scrutinized to the nth degree. And you still, even when you dot your I's and cross your T's, you still get a no answer.
So you're painting with some pretty broad brushes here.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me some specific stories. Give me some examples of you don't even have to say the first time, just if there isn't, just any time that comes to mind that you were.
I was 24, 5 years old.
Okay.
And as crazy as it sounds.
And where were you?
I was here in Grayson County.
Grayson County, got it. Go.
And this is trivial, but it hurt my feelings a lot. I was like 25 years old. I was in hair school. And believe it or not, I'm 25 years old. I've never seen the inside of a Coke machine.
Okay.
I just never been around when they opened up a Coke machine.
Okay.
So we were at this place, and this Coke machine was open. Like, it was open.
Like somebody left it open?
Yeah, like somebody forgot to lock it up or something, and it was open. And now keep in mind, we're in a building that's probably got 60 people walking in and out all the time.
It's like an office building or something?
No, this was Grayson County College.
Oh, it's in college. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was like, oh, and just curiosity got the best of me, and I just opened it up, and I was like, oh, this is how a Coke machine works. And so one of the teachers came by, and she stopped, and she was like, what are you doing? Now, I'm a grown man now with 2 kids, and I'm like, looking inside a Coke machine.
Right.
What are you doing?
Yeah.
And then so I looked inside of it. I didn't disturb anything. I pressed it back up to where it was at. And then the black teacher comes in and says, Hal, you need to get out of this room.
Okay.
For what? And then she went in to tell me, they think you in here stealing Cokes. It was just unnerving. So and that kind of, I automatically turned into a thief, just because.
Well, so let's think about that for a minute. At first encounter, you were like, well, I'm looking at a Coke machine.
Yeah.
So you didn't have that idea then.
Mm-mm.
You gained that idea when this other black teacher
Mhm.
told you
Yes.
that was the interpretation.
Yes. Well, and I like, how did
And
I
then you carried that with you after that?
I carried that with me. I sure do. And I mean, but it just re-emphasized or reinforced the stuff that I learned growing up. Make sure all your ducks are in a row. Don't do this. Don't do that. Don't wear hoodies in the store like we're telling our kids now. Don't do anything that's going to get you counted as a thief or a hoodlum or anything else. So you have to go through it now. That just reinforced, like when we were kids, they told us a lot of the same stuff. Keep your hands out of your pockets. Don't go to these neighborhoods at this time of night. Don't do this. Don't do that. I remember another instance. We were 11, 12 years old kids. So we would have this thing where we would go to different neighborhoods and play those neighborhood kids in football.
Right.
How many kids around the United States have done that?
Yeah.
So it was one particular place called Kangaroo Hill that some kids lived up, and we set it up at school. We were like, hey, we're going to come this afternoon, and we're going to play football. And they were like, yeah.
Right.
So it's about 13, 14 of us walking up Kangaroo Hill. And cop comes through, turns on his lights, comes back around, said, what are you kids doing? And it's like 13, 14 kids. It's 5 or 6 footballs we throwing back to each other. We're finna go up here and play football. He looked right at us and he said, no, you're not. And we were like, yeah, we're going to go up there and play football. And he said, no, you're not. And that's when it dawned on me that we're not going up here to play football. And I said, come on, guys, we're not playing football today. And we would turn around, and then when I told them that, they were like, oh, okay, we're not playing football. So when we say about a part of that privilege is you never having to think about that. Except that maybe that one time you go to the hood, the one time you go to Oak Cliff, the one time you go, Southwest Little Rock, the one time, you never have to think about that. But I have to think about that in every block, in every store, in every turn. That's why I don't go to Dillard's now. I don't go to Dillard's because I used to be in love with Polo, Ralph Lauren, and I've taken so much abuse just for wanting to wear this stuff. And I just, at one point, it was 3 Christmases ago, I said, nope, I'm not doing it anymore. I'm not getting my bags checked anymore. I'm not getting my receipts verified against the clothes anymore. I'm not getting followed anymore. I'm just not going to do it because I have to be still in it because there's no way I can afford a $75 shirt. So I must be stealing. And it's the same. No matter how much I grin, no matter how much I wave, hey, big guy, how are you? This right here is a weapon. And that would get, and you never have to think about that when you go into a store, a bank, a gas station. It's so weird to walk around with these masks on because the look you get, like the freeze up people get. I'm like, I'm wearing a mask like everybody else. But it's the...
Oh, I don't know. I hate that feeling too, having to wear a mask around it.
Just
Feels
imagine,
awkward.
yeah.
Just,
It's a...
especially if you're a legal firearm carrier.
Oh yeah.
Kind of feels like the Wild West.
No, yeah, and I'm like, that's the part of the privilege that we don't get to enjoy. There's the places I don't get to go because it's a certain time of day, or it's a certain time of night, or it's in a certain neighborhood. Even though, it's just, and that's the personal on the street level. But the real privilege is when you go to get your bank loans, when you go to get your mortgages, when you go for the jobs, when you do that kind of stuff, that's what it is. When you got the same house on the same block and somebody pays more than you, or somebody pays less than you, well, it shouldn't be like that. It is a feeling, and we've always known it. We had to make laws to keep them from doing it. Like in banks, in loaning practices, they had to make laws to keep them from doing it. So it tells you that it was there. It was enough evidence that would suggest that that's what they were doing. So that is the privilege we're talking about. Not, oh, you're just going to get something for free just because you're white. No. It's that you can go and live freely. You can be whoever you want to be. And that's perfectly fine. I've seen some of the weirdest folks come and do some amazing stuff, and I've seen college educated black men that can't do nothing. I've seen guys that told me out of their own mouth they went to prison for trafficking dope and still graduate college. And I've seen black men that have never been to jail that can't get a job. So no, the privilege is not that something better is going to happen. The privilege is already, the privilege is being able to live your life the way you want to. And when you go to enjoy these liberties that we have, you can do them freely. But that is it.
So this may be semantics, but the last time we talked about this, I recognize that some of that stuff does happen. But I don't think that means that I have some privilege. I think that some people have a disadvantage. And maybe that's a semantic thing, whether it's a privilege for one or a disadvantage for another.
If somebody has a disadvantage, so that means that on the other end of that, somebody has an advantage. It's a disadvantage. So somebody has an advantage.
Yeah, but there's lots of privileges that you could call privileges that are also advantages, right? Some people might just say, well, I'm disadvantaged because I was born to poor parents. Or I'm disadvantaged because I was born missing a finger. Or, maybe I couldn't, maybe I'm disadvantaged because I have some sort of physical disability, I have an illness or something, or I can't walk. Those are all disadvantages or disabilities.
That is the problem of just life.
And
those same things don't stop you from getting a fair. Like when you go and get your mortgage, have you ever thought that they're gonna screw me just for the sake of screwing me? They're gonna screw me because of the address I put down of the house I wanted to buy.
But I do know that banks are businesses, and they obviously are looking to make money.
That's the thing.
It'd be interesting. So I completely agree that obviously with redlining practices and stuff in the past, that certainly happened. It'd be interesting to see, and I don't know how you could isolate this, but it'd be interesting to see if now, today, the average black person that goes and applies for a home loan, equalized for the same socioeconomic status, right? So we're talking about a person, a black, let's say we have a nuclear black family, mom, dad, 2 kids, and they're just on the lower end of the economic scale. They're making, dad works, mom stays home, dad's making $45,000 a year. Same thing with the white family. I don't know how you could equalize it for it, but I would be interested to see if there's any data that we could find that would show if there is a difference between those otherwise equal variables.
Nothing, but the only thing is that loan is still going to come across a human's desk.
Yeah. I've seen a lot of black people work at banks.
I've seen them too.
So how do you know
that means
your loan doesn't come across the black person's desk, and then you have some preference?
Let's get to that. Let's get to that. Let's say it did. Let's say it came across a black person's desk. That black person that's sitting there is still working in the parameters of what this bank owner has said, this bank president has said, or his practices, or this and that.
Right.
I got a guy right now that's trying to make his way through becoming, bank president. So he's 5-6 years into it, and he keeps bringing loans, and they keep denying him for trivial things. Trivial things.
Like, what's trivial?
Trivial. We don't think this business is going to work. Well, that's not your choice. Do they have the qualifications? Not your thoughts.
Well, it kind of is. I mean, a bank president, for instance, is making the determination on how strong he thinks this business plan is over this one. And some of that, whether you like it or not, has to do with the location of that business. And if you have a group of people that come from an impoverished area where businesses are frankly just statistically less likely to survive, he has to make money for his bank, for his shareholders. Now, that goes back to the socioeconomic status,
but that's
not necessarily the color.
That's still a preference. If I have the numbers, the answer is yes. You can't tell somebody what they can do or what they can't do.
You can if they're using your money to do it.
They're not using the bank's money; they're using our money.
Well, but we choose freely to give that bank that money. If you've got a bank that's doing that kind of stuff and you know about it, you wouldn't put your money there if you believed in that kind of thing, right? Or if you didn't.
And that's another thing. A lot of stuff. It's amazing how stuff can just always has a reason why.
Well, I would propose that there are so many reasons we can never calculate them all. Frankly, it's too big for us to really calculate.
But I'm saying that is the thing. You've dotted your I's, you crossed your T's,
sure.
you turned in your stuff, and the answer is still no.